everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this very, very special Q&A with one of our instructors at our next Craft Your Life retreat, which is on October 29th coming up. And it begins at 9 in the morning and goes till 9 at night. And in there, we have 6 different classes for you. And we have brought in a special guest. It is her first Altenew retreat, so we're very excited to have Kelly Taylor with us today. Thank you for joining us, Kelly.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And if you guys, we do have some questions for Kelly, but if you have other questions, put them in the chat and I will try to catch them if I can. Just to let you know, the retreat is normally going to be $199. You get a bunch of stuff in there. There are 2 Craft Your Life kits essentially. So you get 2 6x8 stamps, 2 3D embossing folders, 2 die sets, and 2 stencil sets, plus some extra goodies, because you know Altenew always throws in extra goodies. And right now it's $40 off. So if you go over today and check this out, it is the Craft Your Life Spec-TECH-ular, I don't think I can say that the way it's written, Blossoms, but I gave it a good go. And then Kelly is going to have 2 classes on that day, which is very, very exciting. So let's hand it over and find out a little bit more about Kelly. Kelly, can you tell the viewers about yourself?
So if we have not met, I am Kelly Taylor. I, for years, crafted under my previous last name, which was Lativola, which a lot more people know. But I did get married a few years ago, so changed my name. Still same coloring skills, though, just a different name. So I started as a scrapbooker when I was in high school. And from scrapbooking, I discovered Jennifer McGuire's Thinking Inking series, if you are old enough to remember that. And then I was hooked on card making, and that's how I landed here. That's how I got where I am.
And we love the coloring. We'll get more into the coloring very, very quickly. Let's get a first impression. When you opened that box with your retreat package inside, what was the reaction of the products inside?
So when I first got my box, I was really surprised about how much was in there, to kind of work with, especially since I knew that I was going to be doing 2 classes. So I was super excited with like the options that I had, that there was, 3D embossing folders and stamps and things like that. So, plus I was thrilled there was outline images because I am a colorist. So sometimes, solid stamps, I'm like, but they're beautiful outline images.
So would there have been a little panic if there was a gorgeous layering stamp set? Would there have been a moment of, ooh?
So I have actually been a part of like blog hops for releases for Altenew where they're more layering style. And so I do have a couple of techniques I kind of keep in my pocket for solid images. But if I have the choice of it, I'm going to go with an outline image.
They're so versatile. They are so versatile because as well, like not to give too much away, but you do watercolor as well, which is absolutely stunning. Like the alcohol markers are phenomenal as well, but you use so many mediums so well. So the outline image really, really does lend itself to your craft, your skill, your passion, like the Kelly Taylor. Who's Kelly Taylor? Outline images,
Yeah, it totally does fit with my style for sure. Belinda, to answer your question, it's all new, I believe. None of it's been released yet.
So the 2 Craft Your Life kits that I talked about, so the 2 6x8, the 2 3D embossing folders, the 2 dies, the 2 stencils, completely new. You also get some it's kind of stock items in there that you could need during the retreat. So make sure to go to the Altenew page and check that out, because this time they did something a little different. They posted pictures. You can see snippets, not the full project, but some snippets of Kelly's projects and the projects from the other designers as well. So you're going in kind of knowing where you're going, and at the retreat we'll tell you all the step-by-step on how to get there, as well as the retreat you get them forever. There are recordings that will come out the week following. You get to keep them forever. And then you also get a PDF, a colored PDF, step by step. So you can take Kelly into your own home. When you have the video, you can pause her. Once the video comes out, you can craft with Kelly for the rest of your life. So how cool is that? I mean, that's got to be pretty cool.
And I'll be eternally this age.
Yes. How cool is that? Oh, there's Aram snuck in. She put the link in there for me. Thank you, Aram. Mary Ann, the products will be released at a later date, but it will be a bit before you can get your hands on these. We want to make sure this is exclusive for our participants. So they not only get to enjoy, the one-on-one, you can ask questions during the whole retreat. And the moderator, I'm one, Amy Hill is the other. We ask the participants. So you can ask Kelly, what's her favorite dog? Does she like a specific type of dog? Or does Kelly like tacos or pizza? You can ask her anything.
Rescued. That's the dog.
That's yes, always rescue, always rescue. Yes, and you get to craft with Kelly. And like I said, you get to keep Kelly forever. So she stays right in your Altenew Academy. When you are so ready to craft, you go in and Kelly is right there to teach you 2 classes. Speaking of which, we don't want to give away a lot, Kelly, but what could you tell us about each of your classes?
So obviously you can tell from the title of the class that we're concentrating on techniques for this particular retreat. And so I tried to kind of mix it up so that each class would have a different technique. And we will be working with the little bit of watercolor, little bit of alcohol markers, little bit of colored pencil. So we'll be doing a couple of different things. And then you can combine them differently than I did. Like once you learn the technique, then you can take that into your crafty arsenal and use that on other future projects. That's my game plan. Like that's my goal in teaching, is to have you be able to take this skill or this technique that I've showed you and then apply it to other things, not just the class, but other things in your crafting, so that you walk away from the class with a skill.
And yeah, people are talking about they got their goodies so quickly. And Kelly and I were talking before. She said there probably will be some story time, whether it's purposeful or just, the story time kind of pops up. There will definitely be story time because
there'll be organic story time, which honestly is the best story time.
It could be like a choose your own adventure a little bit, because guys can talk to Kelly while she's telling her stories. So, when you watch her on YouTube, you don't get to ask those questions right in real live time. Yes, everybody's here for story time, Kelly. Everybody loves a story time. Hi, Sherry. Yes, Kelly is. I was telling Kelly she was my first choice when I had to do my level 3 for the artist marker. She's like, yep, Kelly. I was very excited. Yes, and Aram even says, yay for story time. I'm going to tell you, so what's in this kit, and then we do have some more questions for our guests. We have the exclusive retreat kit called Ambridge Rose Complete Product Bundle, which is what I had spoken of before, the 4 items, the 6x8 stick, the 3D embossing folder, the die set, and the stencil. And also we have the Lotus Frame Complete Product Bundle. You get 12 A2 card bases, an obsidian pigment ink pad, a set of detailed blending brushes, brush gold metallic cardstock, a whole package of it, 10 sheets, and some Friendly Cats stickers, which, I'm on board for some cat stickers. So it's a very full package. Like Kelly had mentioned before, there's a lot in there that will keep you busy for a very long time, even after the retreat is done. Now, so when you open the package, I feel like I'm, because many of you know Kelly worked at Dispatch. I feel like I have the crafty light out and I'm asking interrogating questions. When you opened that package, which one of the 2 stamp sets were you like, yep, this is it. This is the first one. I'm so excited about this.
Definitely the roses. Like
that it's gorgeous.
That's just because I love flowers. I love florals. And because that particular set, has a lot of options, and I like that. I like that there's a lot of different options. So that one I was for sure drawn to first. But I think that the lotus is also really beautiful, and for each, I use both of them. But for each one, I was drawn to a different part of the product. So like you have the stamps, the dies, stencils, embossing folders. So like for each one of them, I was drawn to a different specific product for that, like the look I was going for.
And did this technique scream out when you saw like the Ambridge Rose? Were you like, oh, artist markers, and then?
Well, I think always my go-to is kind of the alcohol markers, the artist markers. But I do, like you were saying before, like I do like to kind of dabble in some watercolor. And so for me, it was kind of like do I go this way or do I go this way? And I think either one of them would have been beautiful, but I picked one and I committed to
it. picked a lane and stuck with it. Yes. No, and so definitely check out on the blog or on the shop, the Altenew shop under the Craft Your Life retreat. If you just put in retreat, it's the first thing that pops up in your search, and you can see the photos to see what you're going to learn that day. Yes. So the preview of the kit, Sherry, is basically in the photos of what folks created. So we do not have any full pictures of everything in the kit. We do have previews of the projects that you're going to make with it. So we do want to keep some surprises for that day, because there are some folks that like to know everything that's in a kit. I'm on that side. I'm team, I want to see it all. How about you, Kelly? Are you team?
I like a good surprise. I waited to find out for both of my kids until they were born. I like a good surprise.
And you're patient. Wow, that I have to know. I'm like,
toward the end, my husband was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And I was like, "I'm 100% sure. I will not change my mind, good sir. Don't ask me again."
You can ask me many questions and many times, but no. Yeah, see, so there we go. While we're chatting with Kelly, maybe put in the chat box, are you team surprise or are you team gotta know? I'd love to know in the chat comments. And so, Kelly, you color beautifully. We've talked about it a lot, and everybody
Thank
here
you.
is like, yep, we love the coloring, but we also love your stories. Do you have any saved? Do you have any that you want to tell during the retreat? I know you said some will pop up, but have you kind of a plan or no plan?
So I don't ever plan my stories, not even when I do my voiceovers.
Wow.
Like I sit down and I just start talking, and then whatever comes out, comes out. Like there are some times where something will maybe happen earlier in the week, and I'll be like, oh, kind of keep that in mind, for a voiceover at some point. But there are like sometimes I sit down and I think I'm going to tell this story, and then the way that the conversation is going in the voiceover, like I never even get to that, and I save it for another day. So you're not going to know until October 29th, because I'm not going to know until October 29th. We're all going to be surprised together.
But the good news is we have a lot of team surprise here, Kelly. We have a lot of team surprise. So that's a good thing, is they get to be surprised not only with the entire kit, but they get to be surprised with what stories come out on that day. So next question, when you design a card, does a certain technique come to you first, or does the product kind of tell you where you're going to go?
So when I am doing card design, there are some times that I know that I want to teach a certain technique. And so I will look for products in my stash that I know will go with this. And then there are other times where I get sent product, and when I see it, I can see the card in my head. And then that can sometimes be like, because I typically cannot move past it to use the product another way until I make that card. I just can't get rid of it until it's completed and I can see it. So it just depends, honestly, on what my situation is.
And I have that too. And it's sometimes, like you said, it's a little bit obstructive because your brain is like, no, you're going to make this. And until
Right.
then, you get no more ideas. Like you're till this card is made, you get nothing. Like you have to make this card. And it's hard sometimes to get past those. You see the image and you're like, the second it comes out of the box what it's going to be. And then there are others. I don't know if this happens to you where you are looking at the image and you're like, yep, I know exactly where that's going. And then you have it in your hand and you're like, oh no, that's not where it's going. Do you have that where you kind of get second thoughts on you really thought you knew, but it kind of isn't working the way
So
you
this
thought?
is another one of the things that makes my videos unique besides story time is I'm very transparent in my real life and my crafty life. Like that's just who I am. And so if I had an intention of making it to look like this and we end up over here, like I'm very open about that in my process because sometimes it just doesn't, either you can't get it to look the way you pictured in your head and so you need to go another way, or as you're doing it you realize it would look better if I did this instead of this. And so sometimes you just got to switch gears. So that does for sure happen. And I try to make sure I leave that in so that people, who are crafting at home and watching know that they're not alone in that. That whether you're doing this as a hobby, you're doing this only occasionally, or you're doing this full time, that it's, it happens to the best of us. Mistakes happen to the best of us. Change of game plans happen to all of us.
Yeah. And I think that's the great thing is being willing to move with your process. If your process is rigid, it could be difficult to create a card, but I'm also glad you leave in those pivotal moments because a lot of times when people see videos, they only see that, oh, look, she sat down and she made this beautiful card in 20 minutes. And really, Kelly and I were chatting about this as well. Really, no, it's more like hours or days sometimes. And sometimes, yeah, we do in the middle go, no, that's just not it. And so I love that you're honest about that. And you're like, this is where I was going, but then this came up. And I love that you're willing to trust your process essentially and know that you're going to get where you want to be in the end, no matter kind of how you get there in your crafty process. Marianne says she loves when you have to take a crafty segue. I love that.
It happens all the time. And in fact, I was friends with my husband for years before we started dating. And I used to tell him all the time when he was looking for a significant other, I was like, the single most important thing you can find in a partner is adaptability. Yep. And that's the same thing with crafting. Like you have to just roll with it. Otherwise, you're going to get frustrated and discouraged. And sometimes it can be really beautiful, different than what you initially planned. That doesn't make it any less pretty. It just makes it different, and different doesn't mean bad.
And those have been some of my favorite cards that I've made, I know, are the ones that I took, we're going to use a segue. I took a segue and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't envision this. But has that happened to you as well, where they become some of your favorite projects?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
And I saw, Brandon, in the comments, you were wondering what was in the kit. I'll go over this one more time. It is on the website, and it is the $159.99. So if you put it in your cart, you're all set to go ahead and check out. In the US, you'll get free shipping because it's over $100. So in the kit, we have the exclusive retreat kit, Ambridge Rose and Lotus Frame. And I thought they were sneak peek pictures. I looked at them this morning, and then my brain did a little blip. They are full pictures. You can see Kelly's full project on the Altenew website, as well as the other instructors. You get a set of 12 sheets of A2 card base, obsidian pigment ink pad, a set of detailed blending brushes, a set of the brushed gold metallic cardstock, a whole 10 sheets, and the friendly cat stickers to put on the back of those envelopes. We want you sending those cards, not collecting them. Like, I don't know. Kelly, do you send yours? I collect mine. Do you send yours?
Nah, fam. I ain't send mine. No.
Mine are all in a box.
There, you can't see it because I'm on my laptop, but there is about a half of a shelf in my closet that's dedicated to my cards. And actually, my sister, well, if you guys watch my channel, you guys know I just did a craft room redo. And so my sister Michelle actually sorted all of them for me. And now I have a tray over here on my desk that she's like, I don't even want you to sort them. Just put them in the tray and I'll come visit you and I'll sort them myself because I don't like the way that you sort them. You got holiday, like you got Thanksgiving in the holiday section and it's more seasonal. And I'm like, oh, girl, whatever. If you're willing to do the work, I'm just going to, with a grateful heart, say thank you. And I'll put them in this pile over here and you can do it.
Would your sister like to come on a vacation to Maine? Just
Do-
throw that out there to her.
I don't even, like, my sisters asked me, and I feel like they're like, this was my fatal flaw. I asked her what she wanted for her birthday, and they did. And I was like, I want your most precious commodity. I want your time. And
Aw.
so they came over and they helped me do my craft room. And like when they were leaving after the weekend was over, my sister was like, listen, next year, I'm not even going to ask you. You're just going to get a gift card. Like, I don't even want to give you the opportunity to tell me what you want because you might want this again. And I don't want to give it to you. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. It took us a whole weekend.
But that is the gift of time is one of the best. That and a handmade card, and you combined the two. You got time and it was all crafty based. So
It was all crafty based, even though it was cleaning, which is,
I know. I'm with you. Yeah, you only need like what 6 by 6 inch spot to craft, right? Right. That's what.
Well,
is your
my
smallest
problem was I
crafting
had
spot?
so many things coming in, I had nowhere to put them. So then I just like boxes were just stacking up and I had like an aisleway. I look like one of those movies, where there's no room in the room. There's just an aisleway and you don't know what's hiding, but it was all crafty stuff.
I may or may not have one of those as well. Yeah. It just happens. We're so busy using that crafty energy to create beautiful things that it's all
well, you're getting like a sneak preview, a little of it.
I love the
everybody
logo.
keeps asking me for a tour, which I will do, but I got to get a cameraman.
So that may be a sign on your husband there.
I know, but I got to get him available to do it, right?
Do it. Okay, so now I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Your go-to technique. What's the one that never fails?
Oh, it's coloring, alcohol marker, 100%.
Yeah.
That's, if I don't know what to do with it, I color it.
Yeah.
That's because but it's also for me the most enjoyable process. So it's not like it's a huge sacrifice on my part to color it. I enjoy coloring. I like other techniques too, but for sure my go-to is coloring. Brandon said Eric to the rescue in more ways than you know, man. I am only staying afloat because I have a supportive husband.
Well, and you also have you are just a roundabout crafty lady. You guys do furniture together. You guys refinish furniture together. Yeah.
Yeah, our tailor-made home, but we haven't done it since Miss Katie Caitlin came along. There's no time.
She's very, very cute, though. She's very, very cute. And
very adorable.
You guys will have a very good assistant. So it's kind of, you're losing a little time, but you'll gain more time once you have, the whole family in on doing that. Because it looks like it's
for
fun.
sure. We do plan to go back to it because it was a great way for us to spend time together. But right now there's just that's on the back burner.
But thank goodness the cards are still a going because they're gorgeous.
Yes,
we can't live without them. So we can't put that ever on the back burner. We love it. We love it. We love it. And yes, Aram answered the question. The PDFs will be out in a few days. There is a Facebook group invite that has gone out. And you can also find the full supply list in the Altenew Academy. When all else fails, if you have a question, head on over to Altenew Academy because everything's going to be listed. That is your central spot to check everything. Okay. So what is the one thing that will always, or likely always, be a work in progress for you, Kelly?
Oh, for sure, watercolor. Yeah, definitely watercolor. Because there's so many different ways to do it, wet on wet, wet on dry. There's so many different techniques that you can learn and do. And really learning how much water is enough water to move your pigment, but is too much water, for you to have control over it. So that one for me is always a work in progress. That doesn't stop me from doing it. Because I think that I have come a long way. I think I've made some projects that I'm pretty happy with or proud of during that time that, but all of us are learning. It doesn't matter what, the thing is. For me, it's watercolor. For someone else, it's, colored pencils. For someone else, it's alcohol markers. And like, you're going to see that growth, which is that's how you see growth, is to keep doing it, even though it might not be 100% where you want to be yet. And that's okay.
And what would be your advice? So let's say we have somebody out there that's a little nervous about the artist markers and coloring. Like, what's your advice if they have a technique that they're just like, oh, no matter how many times I try, I just can't get it? What's your advice on frustration with technique?
So Altenew makes it really easy because the color families are pre-selected for you. And so if you're a person who's worried that you're not going to be able to get good dimension or a good blend, the artist markers are super easy because they're already selected. If you're looking at it like as far as a technique, like flicking took me a really long time to get down. I would watch YouTube videos just like you guys do. And I watched them until I found a way. And it wasn't just necessarily one specific card maker. It was a bunch of different ones. And I would combine the different things that they taught me. But this is true of all things, not just coloring. In order to make progress, you have to practice it. You have to do it. You have to sit down with your markers. Watching, 100 hours of footage is not going to get you any further along in your coloring journey, which is why the retreat, like we're doing, is so helpful, because you can see it real time. You can see how I'm laying down the color. You can see what I do when I make a mistake. You can see all of those things real time, and you can ask a question. So like, hey, I picked up the wrong color and I, did this. How do I fix it? And then you and I are going to be together. Bridget will be able to ask me the question, and I'll be able to walk you through how to fix it. So that is so helpful to have. Like, you will literally have an entire day of being able to ask your instructor questions and see real time what they're doing, which you don't have when you have just a, pre-filmed YouTube video. You can still learn from it, but you have to do it.
Yep. And I think that's the great thing, is you basically are getting 2 one-on-one classes with Kelly, 2 one-on-one classes with Emily.
And she's Emily watercolor. Emily is...
We all have our crafty heroes.
Amazing.
We all have our crafty heroes, don't we, Kelly? We all have folks that we see and we're like, I can never do that. Like, even
I will save this story for retreat, but I have a funny story for when I met Emily.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so we have one story planned. Now, if Kelly and I remember that, we will be doing well. So if we don't remember, remind Kelly and I that we're going to talk about how Emily and Kelly met. And yes, Dawn, every fail is a lesson. And Kelly, good to see your face. I'm so glad to see you're using your hand and hearing your voice. So you definitely recommend working along. It's up to you. And I was just going to mention that, Belinda, you, like I said before, you have Kelly forever. Like, she's going to be in your Altenew Academy, just waiting for you when you want to craft. We have some crafters that like to craft along. They prep everything before they come in ready to go and they craft along. We have others that just like to hang out and have a chat. because it's live and you get to ask questions. So if Kelly does use a marker in a certain place, you can say, oh, why did you use that color there? I thought you would use fire brick and you use Sunkissed. Why did you do that? So some folks do like to watch along and ask questions, take notes, and do it later. A lot like to craft along with us. And some will watch some and some will craft during some. It really depends. If you have never done one before, I would highly recommend to start out trying to do it. During the retreat, sometimes we do get requests for the instructor to slow down. Most of the time, we can't do that because it is recorded. So we have to go at a certain pace to fit in all the fun of the 12 hours during the day. But that's, again, the great thing with the recordings. And you can reach out after. If there's something you are watching this a month later, reach out to Kelly on social media and say, hey, you did this. I don't understand. We all love to help you guys improve and craft and all of that. Sherry's a watcher.
That is something that is very fortunate about being a colorist, because live card making, I have to color the same amount of petals that you have to color. So you'll be able to see it again and again and again. So that is one benefit to being a colorist, no matter what medium you're using, because you get it on repeat that you can live watch it.
Yeah. And I hope if you are on the fence and you're like, I don't know, join. We've been doing these a little over a year now, and this is like nothing else. We have so much fun during the 12 hours. You will get to know Emily and Kelly and Anne Marie and Indini better throughout the day. So you get to put a face with a name. You get to ask questions. What's Kelly's favorite kind of pizza? You can ask questions as we go through, and questions about techniques, whatever you'd like to ask. And it's fun just to have a chat. And we've even named our crafty spirit animals before. So we have a good time.
Mine's Sherry Carol. True story.
You're already learning. You guys are already learning so much about Kelly. Yes. I don't know that Kelly will wear her warm, fluffy robe on retreat day, but and Jennifer says after lunch she has wine. There you go. Kelly and I both have our cups of coffee. We're ready to go. And I firmly believe in the pajama dress code. So the robe, Well, thank you so much, Kelly, for taking the time to share a little bit. We can't give everything away. There has to be some surprises on the day of the retreat. Tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern time, we will be here with Emily Midget, and we'll get to know her a little bit better as well.
No, Brandon, no. It's not.
I haven't seen Ziggy in forever.
Best tea mugs. They're the best tea mugs.
That's a blast from the past. I used to remember a lot of Ziggy. That dates me, I think, though, a little bit. Yes, pajamas are clothes. Yes, and Aaron was popping in some links in the chat as well. It did go by fast, but Brandon, I'm going to tell you, the 12 hours goes by in a blink of an eye. You think, oh my goodness, 12 hours. And when we sign off at night, we're all very, very sad because the classes are done. And it's very, very sad. But it's very, very exciting to go to the 12 hours, have a chat, get to know some of your favorite crafters, and as well make beautiful projects. And I'm telling you, when you open this box, it's full of goodies. It's full of excitement. Altenew knows how to pack a box. So I hope you will join us for the retreat right now. Again, it is on discount at $159. It will eventually go up to the full price, which is $199. So make sure if you're on the fence, get in there while you're getting a discount, because Kelly, we all love a discount, right? Right?
Yeah. Cheap chicken. Cheap chicken.
We love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Thank you all for joining us. And we will see you. Well, I will see you with Emily tomorrow. And we will, I think
Monday.
Put on the 17th at 1:30, but I thought
it's Monday.
Was tomorrow. I'm just double checking the time. I thought let me just double check myself. Oh, the 17th. Yes, Monday the 17th at 1:30. Thank you, Aram. So yes, Monday the 17th at 1:30 will be with Emily. So I will see you all next week. And a very special thank you to my very, very special guest. I'm so excited you're joining us for her first Altenew retreat as well. So you guys get to be there for Kelly's. You get to help Kelly celebrate with her first retreat as well. So we will see you all very, very soon. Until next time, my friends, happy crafting. Stay safe. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys.